Welcome back to the Bill and Doug Show. National picks here on Friday. Landis, I sucked last week. 2-6. We picked 7 national games plus the Ohio State game. I was 2-6 against the spread. You were 4-4 for the season. You're 22-21. I'm 18-25. So it's just a reminder to the folks, this isn't a gambling show, but if you want to use any of the advice here, use Bill's, not mine.
I thought you were ready for the upswing because you had a good week 2 weeks ago, right?
I did. I did.
Yeah. It's just the game. The game's tricky. We'll see. You'll have a bounce back. You're going to bounce back this week. I can feel it.
Sports. So we're picking 6 national games. That will include Indiana, Oregon. We'll have that discussion. That will include Red River, Oklahoma, Texas. That'll include Alabama, Missouri. It'll include Michigan-USC. But we're going to start on Friday night. South Florida at North Texas on ESPN2 at 7:30 on Friday. North Texas is currently favored by 1.5. That's a 3-point line move from South Florida being favored by 1.5. This is a huge game as we continue to monitor the Group of 5 spot in the college football playoff, which probably is going to go to the champ of the American Athletic Conference. These are two of the teams that are undefeated in American play. Navy is 3-0. Memphis is 2-0. Tulane is 2-0, and then South Florida, North Texas, and Temple are both 1-0. Landis, this really matters.
Does matter. Tulane got a scare, by the way, on Thursday against ECU. They pulled that out. And Navy and Temple play this weekend, so one of those teams will take a loss, and one of these teams will take a loss. So it's going to be a really fun conference race, I think. Also, Friday night, really nice double feature with this game and Rutgers against Washington. I think a lot of points are going to be scored on Friday night.
Yeah, we don't just want to come on and pick all Big Ten games. So there's a bunch of Big Ten games that we're not picking that are super interesting, including Rutgers, Washington, including Wisconsin, Iowa. That's it's a close game that could go either way. The important thing here, there is something that is really on the line here that I'm interested in, and that is whether Texas is the 4th best college football team in the state of Texas. Because Texas Tech and Texas A&M are already showing that they are better than Texas. And this is not even putting TCU and Baylor into this conversation. But if North Texas beats South Florida has beaten Florida, who has beaten Texas. So then North Texas would be better than Texas.
I didn't think of the transitive property for the Longhorns.
Yeah.
Down bad in Austin. Who knew?
We are transitiving Steve Sarkisian into the second tier of Texas state football. I actually almost feel a little bad that we are not doing Temple Navy on this. It's a 4 p.m. kick on Saturday, Landis, in Lincoln Financial Field, because the Philadelphia Eagles were nice enough to get out of the way on Thursday night by getting their butts kicked by the Giants and clear the way for Temple to use the place on Saturday.
The city needs Temple to win. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that much. It is not a fun time to be a Philadelphia sports fan.
I saw that thing that you retweeted, which is there's only been twice in history that a city's NHL team, NFL team, and Major League Baseball team have lost on the same day when the baseball team is also eliminated from the postseason. It's happened twice in history, and it's both Philadelphia, 1983, and this Thursday. So sorry, bro.
It's all right. It's okay. We're powering through.
If you were Casey Keeler, the Temple head coach, that we are excited to have him in Northern College football, you were fired up about that hire. You called him the next Kurt Cignetti. Do you think Casey Keeler should get up in front of the Temple football team and say the city needs you and fire them up to go beat the midshipmen?
Yes. Look at these dozens of people that have come out to watch in this empty NFL stadium. No, not joking. Like Temple's actually like decent. Like they're not bad.
Absolutely. No, this is, I mean, like they could be they're it's a 10.5 point line that Navy is favored over Temple, which is why we didn't pick that. We're not picking that one instead of a South Florida, North Texas game. That's basically a coin flip, but like, keep your eyes out. If you want to, at 4:00 on Saturday, if you want to take a peek at Temple Navy, we would invite you to. But on Friday night, this is a little more wide open to take a look at this. South Florida, 4-1, opened with wins over Boise State and Florida, then got blown out by Miami, but a lot of people are going to get blown out by Miami this year. South Florida, the last 2 games, has scored 63 and 54. North Texas is 5-0, but 2 of those wins are in overtime against Western Michigan and Army. South Florida, I think like people were all in on South Florida after they beat Florida. And then they got their doors blown off. And it was like a little bit, I think people forgot about him a little bit. But Byron Brown, their quarterback, last game threw for 211 and ran for 162. I kind of like South Florida here.
Everything about this, I think, points you in the direction of South Florida. It's kind of shocking that North Texas is a favorite. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I really don't know why. South Florida has been tested and beaten much better teams. I think just
Yeah.
from an athlete standpoint, South Florida is closer to the top end of the American, and North Texas is playing really well, but probably closer to the middle of the American, if not the bottom in terms of just the athletes it gets. So it's weird that this is 1.5. North Texas has the best defense in the American, but they've not played anybody. You don't get a whole lot of they ain't played nobody in G5, but you're getting it here from North Texas.
Yeah.
So all of it's very strange, and it has my antennas up, so I'm picking North Texas.
Yeah, you are. All right. What's your score here?
High scoring, 42-38. Fun quarterback matchup. Drew Mestamaker from North Texas is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think he's one of the guys you were talking about, I think, on the whatever we were talking about, like quarterbacks who haven't thrown a pick yet, but have at least 100 attempts. I think you said there are 8 of them, and I think he's on that list too, right? With Luke Altmaier from Illinois.
Yep, he's one of them.
Okay. I am going to take South Florida, and I am going to take South Florida. What's my score? 38-30. So we will go head to head here, seeing who is right. And as you pointed out, like a nice Friday night. I don't know if people are still mad about college football interfering with high school footballs on Friday. Like, if you are, I get it. Then just like DVR it or whatever. But as you said, you can watch South Florida, North Texas, or record it at 7:30 on ESPN2, and then Rutgers at Washington at 9 p.m. on FS1. We're not picking Rutgers, Washington, but both those teams can move the ball and put up some points. And I think Rutgers, Washington will be a lovely watch on Friday night. Yes?
Yeah. If you like teams throwing the football, I think Friday night's going to be a fun night. Yeah.
Okay. So we're not picking that. We are moving to Saturday, and this is Alabama at Missouri at noon on ABC. Missouri at home is an underdog, getting 3.5 points. Missouri, I just don't have a handle on. They're undefeated. There are only 2 good wins. Kansas, 42-31. They beat Kansas, and 29-20 over South Carolina. I like nothing more than picking against Alabama, but I'm curious if Missouri is fake good.
I think Missouri could be fake good. Like the statistical profile is very good. Like even like the pass defense, which you probably would wonder about in this game against Alabama, right, is excellent statistically until you sort of like look at why. And it's because the 3 awful teams they played couldn't throw the ball at all. And the 2 Power 4 teams that played threw it pretty well. So like I don't know how good Missouri's defense is. Like Ahmad Hardy, their running back, is very good, and one of the better running backs in the country. And Alabama's run defense is not particularly good, and they've also had tackling problems. So there's definitely a pathway for Missouri to win the game, but it also kind of feels to me like a spot where Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams, who is like injured, but I think going to play, and that Alabama passing attack might just kind of have its way with this defense.
Ahmad Hardy, as you mentioned, he's forced 46 missed tackles, according to PFF, which is far and away the most in the Power 4. The next running back has forced 33 missed tackles, so he's 13 ahead. He averages 7 yards per carry. He averages 5.3 yards after contact. Again, his yards after contact is the most in the Power 4. One thing I thought was interesting, again, part of this is built on sort of the not-so-great teams they're playing. Missouri is first in the nation in third down conversions offensively. They make their third down 62% of the time. Alabama's defense is 97th in the country in allowing successful third down conversions 43% of the time. So as much as I think Missouri might be fake good, I think Bama is fake great. I think Missouri, with that run game, Bo Perbula's legs involved as well, maybe can just like convert some third downs, keep the ball, and win this thing. I'm going to take Missouri 30-27.
Okay, I'm in a different spot than you. I think Missouri will score some, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Alabama. I have Alabama winning 38-24.
Okay. I still think Missouri's fake good. I just think they'll beat Alabama. Is that okay? Like, I think
Well, listen,
I'm not
we all have
anointing.
agendas. We all have agendas. It's fine.
I'm not anointing Missouri. I just continue to be in a like, show me, prove it to me situation with Alabama. All right, the game that we will be focused on the most from a Big Ten perspective, obviously outside of Ohio State, Illinois, it's just a really nice. Not everybody in the Big Ten is playing this week. You get Rutgers, Washington on Friday night. Then there's 2 noon games highlighted by Ohio State, Illinois. Then there's 3 3:30 games highlighted by Oregon, Indiana. And then there's 3 primetime games highlighted by USC, Michigan. And it's just like a really nice Big Ten schedule of a bunch of like interesting games. There's kind of not really a game that doesn't matter at all. I guess maybe is it UCLA, Michigan State that might be the closest to that. But
Penn
like
State better hope Penn State Northwestern doesn't matter.
But I mean, like you got, normally it'd be like, Penn State's awesome. They're going to kill Northwestern. Now, again, transitive property. Northwestern beat UCLA. UCLA beat Penn State. Like, what are we talking about here? Should Northwestern be favored in Happy Valley? That's the question people are asking. We're not going to pick
Stone
Northwestern.
getting the opportunity he didn't get in the playoff last year.
Oh my God. SMU revenge game. Oh, I didn't even think of that Preston Stone's been in that building before.
He has,
SMU lost its playoff game at Penn State last year when Preston Stone was the backup quarterback for SMU and then quickly transferred to Northwestern. Guys, I've been in the visiting tunnel. We got this. Follow me. It's like, Preston, did you play? It's like, I didn't play, but still follow me. We got this. We're not picking that. We are picking Indiana at Oregon, Saturday, 3:30. CBS. Oregon is a 7.5-point favorite. A reminder, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, 16 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Dante Moore, Oregon, 14 touchdown passes, 1 interception. I was looking at some NFL draft persons' reevaluation of the draft class in 2026 at the quarterback position, and Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore were 1-2. Actually, I think Moore was first, but they were the top 2 in NFL draft prospects in a world where we were just absolutely force-fed Nussmeier all offseason. You want some Nussmeier? Going to cram some take this Nussmeier, but I don't want any more Nussmeier. And now we've settled on Oregon, Indiana is the best quarterback of NFL draft options out there.
Yeah, I tried to ask Ryan Day, by the way, a couple weeks ago before Ohio State played Washington, like, hey, isn't the quarterback playing the Big Ten really good? And he was like, we'll see. And then this week, he's like, the quarterback playing the Big Ten is incredible. And because they're getting ready to play Luke Altmaier, and he's played very well too. So like, he's on board. He knows that the Big Ten's got. I mean, the Big Ten's got. I see all these like top quarterbacks in the college football list, and like, there's like one Big Ten guy on them. It's like honorable mention Julian saying like 7 of the best like 15 quarterbacks in college football are in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And part of it, you know what happened there. It's like you asked him that question. He had not thought about it. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, you know what? Can someone get me some stuff? Can someone give me, I want a printout of every starting quarterback in the Big Ten and their stats. And then somebody gave him that. And then he was like, oh my God, Ethan Kaliak-Manis. Oh my God. And so you planted the seed, and then he came back and was like, I realized this. Even Ryan Day has to come around and kind of realize it late because people don't quite understand. But Mendoza and Moore, people understand this, and people understand Dan Lanning and Kurt Cignetti, as much as Brett Bielema in a lot of ways remains like the mouthpiece of the Big Ten. These are 2 talk it, walk it coaches, and to have a gigantic Big Ten showdown that does not include Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State, and it's a top 10 matchup with huge playoff implications, and we just expect a banger. It's so good for this league. Can Indiana actually go in here and win this game?
I think there are reasons that can get you there. The thing that's hard for me to get out of my mind is, and there are different teams, especially on the offensive line, but how much of a struggle it was for Indiana to handle the noise in Ohio Stadium last year, and now they're going to Autzen. Which, like, no offense to Ohio Stadium, is significantly louder than Ohio Stadium. So, like, I don't like that. That's just sort of it's like a non-football thing, but it was pretty detrimental to Indiana's efforts to try to beat Ohio State last year. And I don't like part of it for me is like, is it just that simple? Like, they're not built to go win in an environment like that. I guess the one thing they have in their favor is that Fernando Mendoza has played in Autzen before. He
Good point.
started against Oregon at Cal in 2023. Like, it wasn't this high stakes of a game, and I'm sure this environment will be different. But if you're, it's like we were joking about Preston Stone, but like this is like the real version of it, right? Like Fernando Mendoza like knows what it's like to play in front of an Oregon crowd. So maybe that's enough for Indiana to get over that particular piece of it.
And no disrespect to our guy, Mike Kadick. And again, did we single-handedly launch his media career?
People are saying
yes. Yeah. Yes. I'll tell you what, we've got a little bit of a tree. I'm proud of our tree. We got a little bit of a tree. Come on. Mm-hmm. Come on. You hang out with us, good things happen. So this
Mike Kadick and Tyler Shoemaker.
Yes. And Ari, come on, Ari. We incubated Ari. Are you kidding me? Ari has become a college football monster, and we're the scientists. Like, it's out of control. We love Ari. It's because he's great at it. He's great at it. Mike Kadick was like a product of like the old Indiana, and then was central to the rise of new Indiana. And Curtis Rourke, as a quarterback last year for Indiana, was a MAC guy. So you have like an old Indiana guy and a MAC guy who are then unbelievable. They are playing at an incredibly high level, but then they come into Ohio Stadium and it all crashes down on them. This year, it's Fernando Mendoza from Cal, who, as you said, has played at Autzen, and their center is Pat Coogan, who was the starting center for Notre Dame during its playoff run last year. So Pat Coogan as a center has been through this. So I think just experience in college football moments, that connection is, I think, way ahead of where they were last year. And then so many of the other things for Indiana, playmakers at all three levels of the defense, playmakers at receiver and running back, right, are there. I think they are monumentally more prepared to handle a tough road environment this season than last season.
I think you're probably right. Even like this year, right? Like, so last year, it's like they went to Ohio State, were not competitive, couldn't handle it. They played at Notre Dame in the playoff. It kind of got away from, and then it kind of rallied late. But even this year, like they went to Kinnick against like looks like a bad Iowa team, and it was close, right? Like they did not put their best foot forward in that game. So is that like lesson learned? It's our first road game. We kind of know what this is now, or is that any indication of Indiana at home is a monster, and Indiana on the road, especially against a good team, is just not quite what it needs to be to go win a game like this?
A thing that I don't think the average person, and by average person, I mean SEC honk who doesn't know anything about Indiana and Oregon and just comes in and is like, I'm a honk. Indiana has better skill than Oregon.
Deeper skill. Like DeCorian Moore is the best skill player, but
Indiana in this game will bring in Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper Jr. They are averaging combined 12 catches for 164 yards per game receiving combined. And then Roman Hemby and Kalen Black at running back combined are averaging 24 carries for 39 rushing yards per game. So they have two dudes at receiver, two dudes at running back. Oregon has DeCorian Moore as a true freshman who's been awesome. Kenyon Sadiq in contention for the best tight end in America. The Mekhi Hughes thing remains like one of the strangest things of the Big Ten and college football season. The transfer running back from Tulane, who people were super excited about, and then just was not a factor at all, and is now transferring and is done. They have multiple guys there, including De'Aaron Hill Jr., who Dan Lanning said is going to get more carries and has been involved and was good against Penn State. So like they have guys, but if you're not careful, I think you could be like, oh, like Oregon, they wear crazy uniforms and they're explosive or whatever. And Indiana, Kurt Signet is going to come grinding. I was like, Indiana's going to come in and like chuck it all over the place to Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper and maybe try to like Indiana secondary versus Oregon secondary. Like, where do you go there? Oregon keeps rebuilding its secondary in the portal every season. And I'm not saying it's not good, but
I don't think it's been tested. I think like that much is true. It hasn't been that Oregon secondary has not been tested yet because the best offense they played is Penn State, and Penn State doesn't have a functional passing offense.
Like the passing offense of Indiana compared to the passing offense of Penn State.
It's night and day. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but also it would make me feel like a crazy person to pick Indiana. Like, right? Wouldn't it make you feel
there's
a
an
little like a
area.
crazy person?
Yeah. Well, there's an area we haven't discussed yet.
Bring it up.
The trenches.
Trench it up. Get trenchy on us.
I think Oregon is significantly better in the trenches than Indiana.
Not great pass rush, though. Not great pass rush from Oregon, or what do you think?
Like they played a pretty good I think like the right side of Indiana's offensive line is in for a world of hurt in this game.
Okay.
I don't know that Fernando Mendoza will have the time he needs to throw the ball in a way that Indiana gets a win. And I don't know. Indiana in its first 4 games had like almost 1,300 rushing yards, and then they ran for like 100 against Iowa. I think Indiana's offensive line is better than it was last year. Probably. I don't think it's like a go win this game kind of offensive line. And then I think Indiana's defensive line is solid, but Oregon's offensive line is great. I just kind of think that's where it's. I don't disagree with anything you said about the skill, and it's a really fun quarterback matchup. But I think that Dante Moore is going to have a more comfortable afternoon than Fernando Mendoza is.
And also, Dante Moore might win the Heisman. This is just a quick check on Dante Moore. Again, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Oregon has been kind of a dink and dunk offense, and because it works. But Bo Nix in 2023 and Dylan Gabriel last year, both of them, 67% of their passes down the field were 9 yards or shorter. And Dante Moore this year is only 59%. It's not a huge difference, but I think it matters. Nix in 23, his average depth of target was 6.8 yards. Gabriel last year was 7. Dante Moore is 8.6. They're just pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. 2 Decory Moore, 2 Malik Benson. Kenyon Sadiq can stretch a field as a tight end. And I think I could see if you thought like Oregon's going to try to dink and dunk Curt Cignetti, and Curt Cignetti's going to have a plan for that. And then they'll just try to get the ball out of, if their offensive line can't hold up, get the ball out of their out of Mendoza's hands and get it out to their playmakers. And they have a skill position edge, and Oregon's secondary hasn't been tested. But I think when push comes to shove in this game, if Indiana really is putting out Oregon, then I think Dante Moore has the ability to make plays down the field. And right at maybe a breaking point, I've just thought sometimes in the past, like, man, if you just sort of like box them in a little bit, and if you have some run and chase guys defensively, you could maybe frustrate Oregon. And I think Dante Moore is taking a lot to that next level. So I expect Indiana to make Oregon play great. And then I expect in situations Dante Moore to make plays to get the Ducks over the top.
Yeah. I could be like kind of doing the thing that makes me angry, which is kind of like ascribing a lot of what we saw from Indiana last year to this team. And I do think this team is better. So I could be way off. Like maybe everything we've seen from Indiana to this point is 100% legitimate, and they're ready to go win this game. Like it's not like Oregon's a 2 or 3 touchdown favorite here. And I thought too that like my concerns about Indiana's offensive line would be a reason they would lose to Illinois, and I was incredibly wrong about that. So I'm still there, perhaps foolishly so. I think like, Dante Moore's athleticism combined with what I think is a pretty significant edge for Oregon on the offensive and defensive lines is what's going to win Oregon the game.
So Oregon's favored by 7.5. What's your score?
Oregon 31-20.
Okay. So you'll give the 7.5. I'm going to take the points. I am going to pick Oregon, but I'm going to pick Oregon 34-31.
Nice.
So I feel like Curt Cignetti, it's after, but like Curt Cignetti after the Illinois game was like, we knew we were going to kill them. And then Curt Cignetti was like, this Iowa trip is going to be a dogfight. And then it was. And I actually think Kinnick, this Iowa team and Kinnick is like a perfect warm up for the Oregon team in Autzen. And Curt Cignetti, I think, could be like, listen, we had trouble with that. Oregon's a lot better. We respect Iowa, but Oregon's a lot better, and we had trouble handling that. This is so like, let's get straight. I think that's a good warm up, and both these teams were off last week, so they had time to get ready for this. I think Oregon can make it. I think Indiana can make it a game. I think they can make it tough.
I hope
on
you're
Oregon.
right. I hope they do.
And this is one of those again where it's like, I think I can simultaneously believe that Oregon is one of the 2 best teams in college football, and that Indiana can give them a game, which would just be a reminder of, I think Indiana is like a real team. Do you think Indiana is a little hollow? Like I like that they can beat up on some teams that have holes, but when they play truly elite teams, they're not going to hang? Or do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of still.
Okay.
I still kind of feel that way. I'll be happy to be wrong, and I'll be on alert for it, because I think a lot of the discussion, right, has been like 3 best teams in college football: Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, whatever order you prefer to put them. And if Indiana goes and loses, but loses competitively, like that narrative about Oregon, I don't think should change. All it should change is that, like, Indiana's for real. So we'll see, I guess, if that actually ends up happening. But
okay.
I kind of, I think there's a level that Indiana is not quite at that Oregon and Ohio State and Miami are.
Okay. That makes sense. Also at 3:30, opposite Oregon, Indiana, is Red River, Oklahoma at Texas on ABC. Texas is now getting 1.5. They were favored by 1.5. I'm not sure. I catch stray things. I don't really understand the world. But did John Mateer tell somebody at Chipotle that he was going to play? Is that a story?
Apparently, yes. I had caught wind of that as well. Yeah.
I saw a headline that was like a student journalist, I think, said it was like the Chipotle tortilla presser who talked to John Mateer. And presser I took as press conference. And I thought, did John Mateer have a press conference at Chipotle? And this student journalist was there for it, but they mean the tortilla presser, that the person was like, what was making John Mateer a tortilla? They were like, hey man, are you going to play? And he was like, yeah, extra beans. And yes, I'm playing against Texas. So God bless it. But that's enough. Like if John Mateer plays for Oklahoma, their starting quarterback who's been injured, if he plays against Texas, that's why this line has moved. I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think?
I think all this is great. Like the Chipotle guy, the Dr. Stephen Shin, the surgeon who did the procedure, and like someone's like posting his name on the message board saying he's going to be okay. Like it's all great. I don't think he's going to play. So I think Oklahoma. And this was pointed out on who was I watching? I think I might have been watching like the Fox Sports, the Bear, like his betting show. And there was like a game a couple of years ago when Dylan Gabriel was at Oklahoma. And like he was hurt and he had like a concussion and there was no way he was going to play. And like he dressed and he went through warm-ups and everyone's like, he's playing. And then he came out of the tunnel in shorts when it was time to actually play the game. Like, yeah, I think this is all a charade. I don't think he's going to play. And if he does play, like I don't think he's going to be any good. He broke his thumb on his throwing hand. How could he possibly grip a football? So, what are you going to go put him out there and run triple option? So I'm picking Texas.
Okay, I'm okay with that because I'm picking Texas too. Because I don't know, is Texas going to go like 3-9? Like is Texas dead?
Maybe, but quite possibly. Yeah. It's funny to me, like the Arch Manning stinks narrative is now morphing a little bit into like, yeah, he's not great, but actually it's his offensive line that's really bad. Yeah. And I don't disagree with Texas's offensive line being bad. They're rebuilding it and hasn't gone well. And Oklahoma's defensive line looks pretty scary at times. So they could just like dominate Texas up front and win a pretty low scoring game. I think it's low scoring either way, but I think Oklahoma is either going to play a quarterback who shouldn't play or play a backup quarterback who put 3 points on the board against Texas in this game last year. So I'll take Texas.
All right. What's your score?
20-17.
Okay. I'm right there. I'm taking Texas 23-20. So, and also like rivalry game, one team's down, one team's a little puffed up, like the down team being like, okay, this is where we draw the line. That makes sense to me. Another 3:30 game that you can keep an eye on is Nebraska at Maryland. Big Ten Network, Nebraska on the road is favored by 6.5. Nebraska handled Michigan State, like kind of win a weird game barely last time out. Maryland had Washington on the ropes and couldn't finish that off. This continues to be, as you and I have sort of on our Tuesday show, on the playoff show, hashed out Big Ten playoff contenders. Nebraska's in that mix, but this is and Maryland at 4-1 is in that mix for now. But if Nebraska wants to be anything, like you have to go do this. And I do think Nebraska, I think, feels like its pass defense has played pretty well. And so for Malik Washington as a freshman quarterback for Maryland, they might have a chance to sort of get a handle on that a little bit. But this is the exact kind of game. Like if Ohio State or Oregon was going to Maryland, nobody would be like, I don't know. But if you're trying to be a 10-win team, no offense to Maryland, you got to go win at Maryland. So can Nebraska do that?
Yeah, they can. Maryland can't run the ball, and I think matchup wise, Nebraska's defense is probably ready to handle the Maryland passing attack. First road game for Nebraska this year. Kind of strange. It's over this late into the season. They haven't played on the road yet. Dylan Raiola last year was 1-4 on the road. His only win was against Purdue. The thing that can make it interesting is that Nebraska's offensive line stinks, and Maryland's defensive line can kind of get after you a little bit. They have 19 sacks this year. It's one of the higher totals in the country. They have 9 in their 2 Big Ten games against Wisconsin and Washington. So I think Nebraska will win because, like, top to bottom, it's just a little better. But I actually don't think it's going to be a fun, like, afternoon for Nebraska trying to figure things out on offense. It is a bit remarkable. There are 2 teams in the Big Ten that have, like, totally flipped their identities, and it is Rutgers and Maryland. Rutgers is awful on defense and awesome on offense, and Maryland is kind of middling on offense and looks like pretty good on defense. And that is not typically how they play.
Okay.
So I think Maryland's defense keeps it close, but Nebraska's going to win. I have Nebraska winning 24-21.
And in the name of picking the exact same things, I have Nebraska 28-17. Okay. This is a little bit. This is a test. This stretch. As you said, haven't played a road game yet. So at Maryland this week for Nebraska, and then next Friday at Minnesota. So back-to-back road games, and the second one's a Friday night on short rest like that. And that's a rivalry game. Like that we'll make sure we pick that next week. But that's where I would like that could be a tough spot for Nebraska to try to handle that back to back. But in the meantime, they have to go do this if they want to have a chance to be sort of at the edge of the playoff race. All right, last one.
Can I give out because I looked it up? I mentioned it last week. I mentioned Road Washington versus October Maryland. I went and looked it up. Mike Loxley. I didn't count 2020 because 2020 was weird. So every other year, his winning percentage by month. August, September combined, 807. October, 300. November, 200.
Should Maryland go independent? And just schedule 12 games a year against Florida International and Western Michigan. It is. They do. Okay. But again, like this... They got to win. So they only won 1 Big Ten game last year, but they beat USC at home in like a weird spot. Like this is like a weird spot, Maryland. Like you squeeze 1 win out, you try to get to 6, get to a bowl, keep the Malik Washington energy going, keep the recruiting energy going a little bit, and like try to make a step there. It's not a hang on by your finger. Like it would be nice for Maryland if they could get one of these along the way here somewhere to try to get to 6. So, all right, last one is Michigan at USC on Saturday night on NBC. 7:30 start. Michigan at home. No, Michigan on the road is a 2.5-point dog. So USC at home is favored. I guess I'm not 100%.
Wrong team favored, right? The wrong team is favored.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why that is, because USC sort of. I mean, like we see the USC talent. Right. I mean, you can see talent peeking through with Jade Maeva, who has 11 touchdown passes and against only one interception. You see it peeking through with Mekhi Lemon, who has 589 receiving yards,
awesome.
like, right? But they still just don't they just get in their own way a lot still? And I feel like Michigan might be figuring it out a little bit.
I do feel like Michigan could be figuring it out a little bit. It's also fresh on my mind because we were diving into Ohio State, Illinois early this week. Like I watched the Illinois-USC game again, and Illinois just pushed them around on both sides.
Yes.
So like, why won't Michigan do that? I guess I would say, like, if that doesn't happen, and primarily by that I mean if USC can protect Jaden Mayava, like, I think they can throw it on Michigan. Like, I don't think Michigan's secondary is great. Mekhi Lemon's I mean, everyone knows he's one of the best receivers in the country. Jacoby Lane missed some time, played a little bit against Illinois. I would assume you would get like a full game out of him now. So like, I don't know that Michigan can cover both those guys if Mayava has time to throw the ball. I'm just not sure he will. It's different. Like that game against Illinois was on the road. It was a 9 a.m. body clock game for USC. They're at home. That's not a factor. Maybe that'll be less of an issue, but it's not a dissimilar conversation for me from like the Oregon Indiana game. I just think Michigan's better at the line of scrimmage on both sides, and they'll win the game that way.
Yeah, I think again, this is, if Michigan can win this, and it's not everything's about the playoff conversation, but these teams all think they deserve to be in that conversation, right? And this is it's not the only way to define success, but with a loss to Oklahoma, and then obviously that gigantic game looming at the end of the year with Ohio State, like Michigan certainly can see its way to 10 wins, and I do think a 10-win Michigan team is a very relevant playoff contender. But like this could be like a borderline make or break game. I think the winner of this game is a certified playoff contender. The loser's probably done.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Neither
of these teams will be getting in with 3 losses. Yeah.
If Michigan loses to USC and runs the table with a win over Ohio State, they're in, right? But like you're at the very least out of wiggle room. And USC has Notre Dame next week. So this is, again, if so
that's
USC
next week.
That's next week. So they're home Michigan, and they're looking ahead to Notre Dame next week. So if USC can beat Michigan, but then they lose to Notre Dame, but then they run the table and there's a 10-win. Like again, there's just a lot of there's opportunity here, but the loser is absolutely out of wiggle room. So this really matters. And this again, if USC Michigan, that's a great game no matter what. But this is what the 12-team playoff has given us, that we're having like a playoff conversation here. And I don't think that anybody thinks these teams are national title contenders, but this really matters, right? This is good. This really matters.
I think it matters. And like I think about last year when USC was not as good as it is now. Penn State went out there and it was an overtime game, right? So like whether that's travel or what, like I think I don't think USC is not at the top of the Big Ten, clearly, but I don't think it's a team that's going to get run off the field by the top teams in the Big Ten either. So, and they probably should have beat Illinois. Like the way that game unfolded, there were some breaks that went its way that they didn't take full advantage of. So, I think USC is like kind of like on the right. I don't love Lincoln Riley, but I think USC is sort of on the right track. I just don't know if it's equipped to go win this game, and unless, like I said, it's bombs away with Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane, then they can win.
Eager to see. So
two
things.
Fun game.
One is this is our plan for Saturday. First, we'll do a live post game as soon as Ohio State ends. So that's a noon kickoff. That'll be right around 3:30. We'll be jumping on this YouTube feed live for an Ohio State Illinois post game show, and then we're gonna do a second post game show when the primetime games are over. Primarily this one, where we will talk about what happened with Indiana, Oregon, what that means for the Big Ten, what that means for the playoff conversation. We'll talk about Michigan-USC. We'll talk about Red River. We'll talk about Alabama losing to Missouri. We'll talk about everything that is happening. Got that right past you. Well, all the things that are happening in college football beyond Ohio State. So join us. We're planning for a double dip post game show. No watch long or anything this week, but double dip post game show. So we'll see you from a national college perspective on Saturday night around 11. And also go check out rowback.com. Game day collection. Fall is here. cool stuff. And it's one of those, I still like window shopping in the order your clothes online age. I like in-person window shopping the best, but it brings me pleasure to think of the quarter zips that I would buy if I had a little bit more money. So you can get pleasure from Roback.com even without buying something, which is a great way
you can
to back your advertiser. Go to their site. Don't even buy anything. Just let the pleasure of looking wash over you. And then everybody will go out of business because nobody makes any money. But also like go to Roback.com and just see if something cool strikes your fancy. And if it does, then you can use the code BAD20 to get 20% off your first order. So that's a good way to do it. Like, I'll just check it out. Oh God, just check it out. RHOBACK.com, the game day collection, all kinds of college football gear. BAD20 for 20% off your first order. All right, those are our picks. Let's see if I can do better.
We didn't pick Michigan-USC. We didn't give our score.
Just vibes. Michigan vibes is enough, isn't it? 30-23 Michigan.
Oh, cool. I'm 31-24 Michigan.
Great. Glad we did that. What was the point? How can we share a brain, but yet you're still so far ahead of me this year? Like I just need, if you could send me your picks ahead of time, then I'll just change it by 1 point each week. And at least I won't be going down the tubes by myself. So as usual, we're united on a bunch of stuff, but we'll see if Landis has the edge where we disagree. So those are our picks. Thanks to you guys for being here. We'll catch you on some of the post-game shows on Saturday. For now, he's Bill Landis. I'm Doug Lesmerises, and that was the Bill and Doug Show.